Hey everybody, this is Jay Henry. In this video, I want to walk through how to get training data for our computer vision model. So in the last video, I set up the project to have kind of the structure that we need to support model training. You'll see why when we actually build the model that the project has to be set up with this particular structure. Basically, there are utilities within the library that we're going to be using, Keras, which will infer what classes you want to train on your model based from your project structure. So we set it up that way. Today I will actually extend that structure a little bit and add some training data in. What we're going to do is take some videos that I have and use a utility called ffmpeg to convert those to individual images. And we'll do that for a couple of different classes, and I'll kind of show you how to make that a repeatable process. So step 2, get some data. So for computer vision, we want to get a bunch of images that we can then convert to matrices of integers and feed through a neural network to get a prediction out the other side. And the first step in that is getting a bunch of images. The more images you have, the more generalized your network is going to be, and the better able it's going to be able to recognize images that it has not seen before. So the way that we have the structure broken out, we have raw data. This is where we're going to put our video files that we're going to convert to images. We have train data. This is where the converted images are going to go and how the images we're actually going to use to train the network. And then validation are going to be some images that we do not feed into the neural network during training. And these will be used to kind of test how good a job we did training the neural network. So I have got a project that already has some videos in it. I'm going to pull some of those over. But the first thing I'm going to do underneath raw is I'm going to tell it what type of model we're training. And for this particular one, it's going to be plant maturity. And so I've been doing some plant maturity, that looks right. I've been doing some work with growing plants indoors and training models to recognize when they are at certain stages of growth. So when they're seedlings, they need to be transplanted from the seedling tray into a bigger container so that they can mature, and then when they're juvenile plants, they need to be transferred to yet another larger container. And so what we're going to do is train this model to recognize the difference between seedlings and juvenile plants so that we can get, some kind of alert that, hey, this plant has become a juvenile, it's time to transplant it. So underneath plant maturity, I'm going to create 2 subdirectories, one for seedlings, and we're going to have some data to put in there, and then we're going to have one for juvenile. And I've already got these videos. I'm actually going to just copy them over from another project. For juvenile, I have 3 videos. For seedlings, I have a few more. And we'll get those over in there, and they're all MP4s. And so that's good, but now what we want to do is we want to break these out into individual images. And we're going to be using a utility called ffmpeg. It's open source. It's a great utility. You can do tons of stuff, but what we're going to use it for is to take these videos and create 25 images per second and output them to the training directory. So I think what I want to do first is underneath the raw directory, I want to create a script that we can reuse to call ffmpeg. We don't want to have a bunch of different scripts that do the same things. Prefer to have one and then just use some environment variables to configure it. So I'm going to call this one, I think, batch convert sh. This will be our base script. Get in here and say data raw. We'll need to add the executable permission to this file, so we'll plus x to batch convert.sh. Okay, we should now be able to call batch convert. It doesn't do anything yet, but that's okay. And so what I like to do is whenever I'm working on scripts, especially ones that deal with file hierarchies, is I like to output some information so that I can kind of see what I'm doing and get debugging information in case I do something wrong. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to output what directory I'm currently in. I want to create an output path because we're going to be taking videos that are in one path and exporting images in a different path. So I want to parameterize this output path based on where the data is coming from and where it's going to. So I think I have to go up 2 levels. Let's see. If I'm in here, I have to go 1, 2 to get to raw. Yeah. Wait. If I'm here, I go up 1, I go up 2. And then I go back down 1. I think I have to go up 2 levels, but maybe it's 3. Let's find out. All right, so I'm going to try to go down to train. Train. And then I'm going to create some variables here for type. And this is the type of model that we're training here. It's a plant maturity model, so the type will be plant maturity. And then there's a class. And the class is the class that we're trying to predict. In this case, there will be 2 classes, juvenile and seedlings. And we're going to want to output images into their respective training data paths. Now I'm going to echo out the path I just created, just to make sure I did it right. Out. Let's try that. That's better. Just to make sure that it's formatted correctly, again, in case anything else goes wrong. And something I like to do is ls the directory that I'm going to be working with right before trying to use it, because if for any reason something goes wrong, you will say, hey, I couldn't show you what files are in this directory because it doesn't exist or whatever. And so first thing I'm going to do is write the script that's going to call this script and make sure all of this is right first, especially this. And so I'm going to go back into Juvenile, and I'm going to create a new file in here which is going to parameterize this script. And I'll call this, I don't know, convert.sh. And then I'll need to, again, give that the executable permission. So I'm going to go down to maturity and juvenile, right? And then I'm going to gmod that file. Good. And then I'll just make sure I can execute it. And I can. So I think what I want to do here is I want to set up some environment variables so that I can parameterize that script, and then we'll reuse that script over and over for different things, for outputting different data. So the type I'm going to put here is plant maturity. The class is going to be juvenile, right? And then I'm going to call that script. And I believe I have to go up, again, 2 levels, yep, and then batch convert.sh. And this little guy here is not part of the path, but it's important. That basically is a shortcut for saying source, and that's going to ensure that the variables that we set here do in fact make it their way down to here, which is a child process. It's Linux internals. I'm not an expert on that, but anyway, put that in. That's important. And then we'll try to call .convert again. And what we'll see is that we did get the path right here because it did call batch convert. Looks like we did get the path right here because we did an ls on, let's see, output path, train, plant maturity, juvenile, and actually I'm not sure that that's right. ls output path. Well, we're gonna find out here in a second. So now I'm actually going to put in the, you know what, that's not right. This is not what should be showing up. That is what's in this directory. And so my path is train. And in train, do I have anything in there? I do not. So that should not work. And of course it's not going to work because I'm basically giving it nothing there, but maybe if I put the correct variable there, then when I do it, it will, okay, good. So now it says, well, I can't access this path, and you know, if we look underneath train, of course that doesn't exist. So what we need to do is create the structure underneath there that mirrors what we want to create. So we'll create the path for maturity for the type of model, and then we'll create the class name underneath that. And now I think if we do it again, we should get, it shows us nothing. There's nothing in there, but that's okay. It means that it was able to find that path. And so with that kind of debugging and validation out of the way, let's actually call ffmpeg and actually create some images. So first thing I'm going to do is, you know, we're executing this inside the raw data plant maturity juvenile directory, which has these 3 videos. So I want to first get a reference to all of those video files, and I'm going to pipe them over to ffmpeg. And let's say one here and ffmpeg, and I'll leave a link to the ffmpeg project in the comments, and it's a great library, and really glad it exists. Thank you to the people who develop it. And what we're going to do here is, sorry, got ahead of myself. We're going to call ffmpeg. We're going to create an index for each of the MP4 files that are passed in, and then we're going to extract 25 frames per second. So it's, I think these videos are 60 frames per second, but we're just going to pull out 25 images per second, and that should be plenty of data for what we want to do. Output path, and we're going to save these files, and we're going to tell ffmpeg that we want to save them with a numbered file name, one for each, that'll increment. And I think this will work. Let's see. What did I miss? In one. Sorry, that should have been a flag. And here we go. And so now if I look down here in the train under, so of course they're not right in plant maturity, they're in the juvenile directory, and you'll see it's creating, you know, these images from the videos, lots of different views, lots of different perspectives, and so that all looks good, and that's done. And then I think we can just do the same thing for seedlings, so let's close that out. And for seedlings, we're not going to have to recreate the batch convert, but we are going to have to parameterize it. So let's create a convert. Let's change this to seedlings. And of course, we're going to have to create the structure down here that we want as well. And we'll go ahead and collapse the juvenile data, and then we'll see the seedlings. Let's see if we can get some images there too as well. Let's see, CD, CC, good times. All right, and then we'll do convert.sh. I don't think, because I copied and pasted it, I think it probably has the same permissions. I don't think I'll need to do anything there, and good. So when that completes, we should have significantly more images for seedlings, which means they'll probably generalize much better. But you'll see in the next video we're going to create a data generator using Keras, which will actually do some cool things for us, like flip and rotate and skew the images to give us more variety in our training data, which will prevent overfitting and help with generalizability. Is that a word? But that'll be the next video. What I want to do here before we go is I want to commit these changes. So I don't think we want to commit all of these images up to source control. That'll be kind of a bloat. I don't think they're necessary. As long as we have the video files and the conversion scripts, we can always get them back. So I think I'm going to add something here to tell me that I don't want any Oh no, sorry, that should be trained. Train. I don't want any PNG files. I think that'll work. Let's check. Let's go all the way up. Let's see, where are we? Under CD. We're under data, and that's good. So let's check the get status and see. So obviously there's a lot to add. Let's go ahead and add all. We'll do a get status. And it did add the video files. It did not add the training files, which is good. That's what we wanted. So we'll commit this. And a tip I learned from a guy a while back was that commit messages are not only for the what, but also for the why. So I try not to ever just put commit messages. They're like, I added training data. Okay, why did you add training data? Why did you add this specific training data? So I'm going to try to be a little bit descriptive here without being overly verbose. I'm going to say added plant maturity training data for maturity model, and that should be enough. I'm going to push that up. Normally I would not push up to the master branch directly. Normally create a feature branch, push that branch, and then create a pull request. That works really great, not only if you're working in a team where obviously you don't want to just be pushing directly to master, you want to give other people a chance to review it and make comments and hopefully learn from it. But even in a sole developer environment, once we've got this stuff, going through a CI/CD pipeline and pushing directly to a production environment from master, we're going to want a chance to stage our changes and have good visibility on what's getting ready to go into the production environment. And I'll probably do a video on setting up CD, setting up CI/CD, and then obviously deploying out to a cloud provider. But I think that's it for now. If any of this was useful, please subscribe and like. If you have any questions in the comments, please leave them. I will try to get back to them. If I made any mistakes, please point them out so that I can learn. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.